Hi, everybody, and welcome to another segment of AstrologyAnswers.com's weekly forecast. My name is Terence. The week begins on Monday, October the 18th, and this is an important astrological week. A lot of energy is starting to open up and move forwards. Not only is Mercury and Jupiter going direct, there's a full moon and the sun is entering into the sign of Scorpio. Let's start with Monday, the 18th. Jupiter has been retrograde since the middle of June. Jupiter is about promises and optimism and growth. And every year when Jupiter is retrograde, whatever you were hoping for, whatever was promised to you, could be smaller than expected, could be delayed. But now, as of the 18th, Jupiter is now starting to move forwards and won't retrograde again until next year. Now, it's going to take a while, a week or two, up to 2 weeks, for the Jupiter to start moving to its regular speed. So the promises are starting to open up, but the giving and the receiving is taking some time because the Jupiter is still moving rather slow, but at least it's moving forwards. Along with Mercury has been retrograde since September the 26th. And on the 18th, along with Jupiter going direct, Mercury is going direct. Mercury has a lot to do with your expectations, your communications, making decisions. Now it's also moving forwards, getting more clarity, having a little bit more confidence in the decisions you would like to make. But I would also suggest you don't make major life-changing decisions just yet, because the Mercury is also just beginning to move ever so slowly. You look through a telescope, you might not even notice it's moving at all. And so think of Mercury at a dead standstill and then starting to move forwards, where Mercury has a lot to do with describing our mental faculties. And when it's going very slow, our thinking is still rather slow, a bit sluggish. So we're waiting for analytical, discerning, business-savvy Mercury to catch up to its speed, but it's being joined by expansive, lucky Jupiter at the same time. So a lot of things that's been on hold since June, but especially with Mercury in retrograde, we could start feeling a lot more hopeful about the near future. Also on Monday, the moon is in fiery, ambitious Aries. So we're ready to get going. And Mars, the ruler of Aries, ambitious, assertive Mars, will be in harmony with Jupiter. Often when Mars and Jupiter in harmony, any work projects, Mars, can be successful Jupiter. Or this is when you could start attracting jobs or work projects that look really favorable. And then with the Mercury in retrograde, take your time to pick the right ones. Make sure that it is what they're proclaiming it to be. But we're really feeling, for most of us around the world, that there's a new beginning. Tuesday, the 19th, there's no major planetary events, but the moon continues in Aries. So we're still ambitious. We're still fired up. We still are ready to be taking chances. On Wednesday will be the full moon in Aries. So this, what had been hidden, information hidden with the Mercury in retrograde, now it's starting to be revealed, ever so slowly on Monday. But only in a couple of days, Tuesday, the 20th, with the full moon, much can start being revealed. And that might be when you have to start rethinking your plans. Now that you're getting more of the truth, more of the information. The moon will peak in the void, in Aries, in the full moon. The full moon will peak at 7:58 a.m. Pacific time. At that point, right after the full moon peaks, the moon goes void of course, meaning it's not making any aspects to any other planet as it remains in Aries until 1 p.m. Pacific time, when it then goes into Taurus. Remember, when the moon is void of course, the energy is unproductive, it's flat. This might be a good 5 hours right as the full moon comes to light, information comes to light. Instead of reacting, just reflect on it and just sit with it. Then at 1 p.m. Pacific time, the moon goes into calming, steady Taurus. On Thursday, the moon in Taurus will cross over, liberating, exciting Uranus in the mid-afternoon. But later in the evening, by early evening actually, assertive, ambitious Mars will be aspecting compulsive Pluto. That you'll be feeling, now that's Pacific time, maybe around dinner time, Pacific time, into the first half of Friday. And Mars-Pluto could indicate some real strong ego conflicts on the negative. But when it's channeled on the positive, Mars is all that goal-oriented, ambitious, assertive energy, and Pluto can be this obsessive, compulsive, so it can trigger a relentless amount of drive and motivation and ambition to get the work done. So that's the Thursday into Friday. Friday, the moon goes void, of course, in steady Taurus at 1:36 p.m. Pacific time to the next day, Saturday, but only 12:58 a.m. Pacific time. So from early afternoon for the rest of the day, Pacific time, the moon is void, of course. So with all that Mars-Pluto, the end of Thursday into Friday, you've got a lot of things being activated. Then the moon void, of course, just stay the course. And the moon in Taurus is very fortunate because it keeps us steady. It keeps us calm. And by 9:51 p.m. Pacific time, so for the most of the world, it's going to be on early Saturday, that the sun leaves for the past 4 weeks, more harmonious, sociable Libra, and goes into Scorpio. Scorpio is the sign of introspection, of death and rebirth, of going deep within. And in the northern latitudes, when the sun is in Scorpio, the end of October to the end of November, this is when the trees are changing their colors. If they're more further north, the leaves are starting to die off and drop. It's symbolic of the whole process of death and rebirth, or of animals going into hibernation until the spring. Saturday, the moon is in Gemini, great for the weekend, because Gemini wants conversations with others, wants to be mentally stimulated, wants to run around, lots of errands, lots of meetings. And the moon in Gemini will be in harmony with pragmatic Saturn, mid-afternoon Pacific time. Very good for business. But if you're having all these ideas, or you're trying to express them, or you're trying to study, or you're trying to write, the Saturn will help focus your mind and focus how you are communicating, which is a good thing, helps you concentrate. Sunday, the moon continues in Gemini, just wanting to run around, hang out with your friends. But the moon by mid-afternoon Pacific time will be in opposition or confrontation to Venus. Now, these are two pleasurable planets. They both want to socialize, connect, but often the moon is opposite Venus. There's some kind of confrontation going on here. It's only for a few hours, but one partner may be wanting more of a connection, and the other one is trying to pull back or not sure. So it could be a couple of hours from good friends to family, certainly your partner, certainly somebody who could be trying to, be on a date with, that you're not on the same page. But this too shall pass. So before I sign off, I want to remind you I'm available for a one-question offer for a nominal fee. To request it, go to the homepage, astrologyanswers.com, click on the tab that's labeled Advisors, scroll down until you find my name, and you'll find the instructions to submit your question. I want to thank you for tuning in. I hope to see you next week with my next segment. Until then, be safe and well.